Let's begin with the NFC Championship game. Rams and Seahawks beat for the third time this season. The first was a narrow win by LA in LA. The second was an overtime squeaker of a win by Seattle in Seattle. Frank, which of these teams impresses you more ahead of their rubber match, Rams or Hawks?
You know, I think about the Rams, and they've just won 2 road playoff games, which isn't easy to do. They beat your Bears over the weekend in overtime. That's impressive. And you know that they have played now 7. This is going to be their 7th road game in the last 9 weeks. So all they do is go on the road. But going to Seattle is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm not that worried about Matthew Stafford, even though Seattle has a terrific defense. Sam Darnold is going to be the key to this game. In 4 games against the Rams, with Chris Shula as defensive coordinator, who's 1-3, 7 interceptions. He had 4 of them in Week 11 when they lost in LA. He's been sacked 16 times. So for Sam Darnold, that's going to be the big question mark. He was terrific against San Francisco. I understand that. But Mike, this is the biggest game of his life. He hasn't played well against the Rams. Last year in the playoffs, he struggled. I think it's all about Sam Darnold. Even with, the 13th man in Seattle and that stadium, I get it. It's going to be about their quarterback this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you, Frank, on any of that, because I know as a Bears fan, I was hoping that we got to Seattle because you thought that Sam Darnold might throw a couple to your guys.
Yeah.
So I hear you
Right.
there. But a couple of things. One, as difficult as Soldier Field is to play in, Seattle, forgive me, my hometown people, Seattle's hard. To me, it's there and Lambeau are the 2 hardest places to play in the NFL. And the Rams know this because they play there every year. The other thing is this. The Rams defense has not been great. Not been good at all. I know in the snow and the cold last week, they gave up 17, but they gave up like 460 yards. And so I think that Seattle, even with Sharpe out, I think that they can muster enough offense as long as Darnold is not terrible. He can't be terrible. He can't go out there and throw 3 or 4 picks. He cannot throw it to the other guy. But if he manages the game well, with that defense, Frank, with that defense Seattle has, and again, the Rams defense has struggled. They struggled against Carolina before they even got to the Bears. So I'm giving the edge to Seattle at home. Maybe not a big one, but enough of one to advance to the Super Bowl.
And in New York, Sam Darnold is obviously a big story.
Yeah.
Because, he played here in New York, kind of flamed out, bouncing around. He's been to the Super Bowl. He was a backup on that Niners team that went. And you talked about the Rams defense, Mike. 27 or more points in 4 of their last 6 games.
Yeah, you can
I'll
move
give you an
it.
interesting stat as it relates to kind of Matthew Stafford and Seattle. There have been 6 times in the last 50 years where the top passer has gone up against the number 1 scoring defense. The defense is 6-0. So it's that old adage, you win with defense, and that usually plays out.
Seattle's got it.
All right, let's move to the AFC Championship game. Yes, the Patriots have a young star in Drake May, while the Broncos will be forced to start Jarrett Stidham. The Broncos, they led the league in sacks, and Mike, you love defense. So which way are you leaning? Patriots or Broncos?
I love defense. You know what? When I said Seattle and Lambeau, right there, Denver is a different kind of advantage. Not that it can't be loud, because it can. But obviously, you're playing at 52-80. You got another set of problems playing at Denver, and you're playing against that defense. Denver's right up there. So if I did a top 5 home field advantage, the 2 games hosting this weekend would both be in the top 5, maybe in the top 3. But when you don't have your quarterback, it's great that Sean Payton. I understand Sean Payton is doing and has done everything, Frank, he seemingly can. He can't play the damn game for him. Number 7 is not trotting out of the lineup into the lineup for the Denver Broncos. Number 7 of years gone by. You can look him up, all you people who have no memory. So I can't sit him. Good for him. He's tied with Peyton at the hip. He was the first guy he brought in. He's a capable backup, blah, 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 blah. Big advantage to New England having to play against a backup quarterback who hasn't played in more than 2 years. When I say hasn't thrown a pass, that's meaningful.
2 years.
The last pass he threw was picked. So no, I don't see it at all.
Yeah. Boys and girls, Michael Wilbon was just telling you that John Elway is not walking through that door.
Not walking through that door.
A couple of things, though, that I'll put in the Broncos' favor. By the way, they're 4-0 against New England all-time in playoffs. This New England team, 8-0 on the road this year. That's impressive. But the thing about this young quarterback, if this had happened in the first quarter of the game, Bo Nix goes down, you throw in Jarrett Stidham, that's tough. Sean Payton, and you can see, listen, he's arrogant, he loves to get into it with the media, but he is a good coach.
He's
had a week to prepare. They have that defense. They're playing at home. So I don't think
you're
it's
buying
going to be
in,
as
Frank?
big of an issue.
You're buying in?
See, you referenced John Elway.
Yeah.
And let's remember, and we all like Drake May, that's not Tom Brady on the other sideline.
No.
In 2 playoff games, the guy's been sacked 6 times.
Yeah.
He's been pressured 31 times on 66 dropbacks, and he's fumbled the ball 6 times. So if not for Jarrett Stroud, there's a very good chance Houston would be playing right now in this game. So he still has a lot to do.
Stroud.
He's been good in the
Stroud.
He's won 2 playoff games, Mike. That's great. But there is still some issues there as well. You're mentioning Elway. That ain't Tom Brady yet under center.
No, not yet. Now, Elway versus Brady, we would settle for that.
That would be pretty good.
Sorry, youngins. Let's move to the Ravens' hiring of Jesse Minter as their new head coach. Minter was most recently the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, but he also served as an assistant for the Ravens for 4 seasons. Owner Steve Bisciotti said of the 42-year-old, quote, "He clearly understands the values, high expectations, and history of the Ravens. He's also a leader who will authentically connect with our players and inspire them to championship levels," close quote. Bisciotti seems persuaded that the Ravens have got a gem, Frank. Are you?
I want to know if you think authentically connect is a little dig at the last coach. I tend to think it's not, because Minter worked for both Jim and John Harbaugh, and with the Chargers, last season led the league, 17 points per game their defense gave up. This year, 5th in terms of yards per game, and the Ravens were 24th. And I think the Ravens have always been an organization where they think defense first. So, and he knows that organization, he knows the owner. I think that's a plus. But you're also, if you're going to be a coach, a first-time coach in this league, you want to go to a team that's got a quarterback.
Yep.
And I understand it's been a down year for Lamar Jackson. There have been some playoff games where he hasn't played well. Other games he's been a little unlucky. Last year against Buffalo, the 2-point conversion, that game should have gone into overtime. So I think it's a smart hire from them. They know who they're getting. The coach knows all about the organization from top to bottom. The key for them is they have to improve the defense. Probably personnel has a lot to do with it. Offensive coordinator, I think that's going to be a big position to fill.
Yeah, Frank, I have always been impressed with Steve Bisciotti and the way that organization runs, which is what he presides over. The way he stays out of the way until he needs to insert himself. And obviously, the hiring of a head coach is that. And I believe that Steve believes that. But I ain't buying any of it until I know what Lamar Jackson's situation is. You can be as good as you want. If your quarterback has taken a drop, for whatever reasons, and I'm looking at Lamar Jackson, and I started asking the question about week 4. How come Lamar Jackson now cannot outrun people with a jersey number that starts with a 5? You're not doing it. Maybe it's injuries. Yeah. Maybe we get the real Lamar Jackson back. I hope so. I am not ready to wave bye-bye to vintage Lamar Jackson. We should just be, the door should be wide open, but we don't know that. And Jesse Minter can't determine it, and he can't fix it, and he can't put it back on track if it's off track. So there's too much we don't know. I understand Bisciotti feels good about this hire, a guy he already knows who might connect authentically. All that's great. Lamar Jackson, he's got to be the answer to most of what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens.
And I agree with what you're saying about Lamar Jackson. Let's also remember, on the final week of the season, he put his team in position, a field goal, and then he's playing the following week.
Yeah.
So, and even in a poor season, he still put his team in a position to win and make the playoffs.
Against a pretty mediocre Pittsburgh team. But I digress.
That's fair.
Let's take a break. Still to come, a new report says Jeannie Buss had problems with LeBron.